We do a lot of educating and mentoring on exactly that. What are the appropriate things to put into an email? How do I have a telephone conversation? What do I talk to them about? We do mock interviews where, I pretend I'm the college coach and, we just talk back and forth about different things.
Got dreams of competing in college gymnastics? Whether you're after a Division I scholarship or wanting to walk on to a college club team, Full Out Collegiate Recruiting is here to help. With our comprehensive recruiting packages, Houry Gabishian, Division I scholarship athlete and Olympic gymnast, along with Wendy Campbell, media specialist, go full out to get you noticed with top-notch consulting, advising, personal webpage design, and analytics. You do the gymnastics, we'll help you with the rest. Schedule your free 1-hour consultation today. To get started, visit our website at www.fulloutcollegiaterecruiting.com or call us at 440-462-9665.
You are listening to the Region 5 Insider Podcast, Episode 4. Today, we are talking college recruiting, how to start, what's important during the process, what do you say to the college coaches, and how to approach it all. Full Out Recruiting joins us to break it all down.
I'm a Region 5, we are burning fire. Say 1, 2, ready or not, here I come, coming in hot. I'ma take my body for a spin.
For over 50 years, Spieth America has been one of the most trusted gymnasium and sports equipment manufacturers in North America. Spieth America is an FIG partner, official apparatus supplier of Gymnastics Canada, and the official apparatus supplier of the NAIGC. This year, our partner Spieth Gymnastics in Germany will supply equipment to the Commonwealth Games and World Cups in Cottbus, Melbourne, Baku, Doha, and Stuttgart. In 2019, Spieth will be the official supplier to the World Gymnastics Championships in Stuttgart, Germany. Spieth America has now relocated to Michigan and is excited to be offering world-class equipment at affordable rates to events looking for equipment rentals. If you have any questions about Spieth equipment, please visit spiethamerica.com. Spieth America is proud to be an official sponsor of the Region 5 Gymnastics Insider. Hey everyone, Jason here, Editor-in-Chief of the Region 5 Gymnastics Insider. Thanks for tuning in for our 4th Region 5 Insider podcast presented by Spieth America, trusted gymnasium and sports equipment manufacturer in North America for over 50 years. And Enter Gym Music, floor music that rocks. Use Region 5 Insider 15 for 15% off your music purchase for the 2019 season. The Region 5 Insider provides gymnastics media content all year long, and that costs money. Help us out by becoming a Patreon contributor. You can find the link on the top right of this podcast page or in our show notes. Also, shop our Insider store for all your gymnastics training essentials, and a portion of that sale goes to help our site. The show notes for this episode can be found on our website at region5gyminsider.com. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for future podcasts and more gymnastics content from the best region in the country. All our social media links can be found in our show notes. Now, let's talk college recruiting. As a former collegiate gymnast and a coach at the college ranks, along with helping gymnasts with the recruiting process myself, I have a good grasp on what to do and not to do during the process. College recruiting can feel like a full-time job with a lot to think about and stay on top of during the journey. Having resources and help with recruiting can make it a more smooth and productive process. Joining me today are the owners of Full Out Recruiting, Houry Gabishian and Wendy Campbell. And guys, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks. We are happy to be here.
Let's start off with just a little bit of introduction so people can get to know you. Houry, can you just kind of talk a little bit about yourself and kind of how you kind of got involved with this?
Absolutely. So I have had a pretty extensive gymnastics career, to say the least. So I grew up actually as a Region 6 kid in Massachusetts. I worked up the ranks, from level 4 to level 10. I earned a full scholarship to compete at the University of Iowa, and I competed there for all 4 years of my eligibility. I was the 2010 Big Ten champion on balance beam. And then after my college career, I decided to dabble in elite gymnastics. So I competed at the 2011 and then again at the 2015 World Championships. And then I also was a 2015 European championships all around finalist. And then my ultimate goal was to compete at the Olympic Games, and I eventually qualified to compete representing the Republic of Armenia at the 2016 Rio Olympics. And after my time as a gymnast, I finally retired, and now I coach in Region 5 at Gym World, Ohio. I'm also a surgical physician assistant, and I am the co-owner of Full Out Collegiate Recruiting. So that's a little bit about my life in the gymnastics world here.
Well, definitely all sides of it, full circle. And Wendy, can you just give a little bit of a bio on kind of what your background is?
Absolutely. I went to get my master's degree. I have it from Kent State University in Organization Development. Was not a gymnast when I was younger. However, I do have, I'm the mother of 2 gymnasts. They just fell into gymnastics and they both love it. My daughter, Alyssa, is a level 7, and my son is a level 9 at Gymnastics World. And I was there so much, and I'm very entrepreneurial, so I do a lot of different things, photography, videography, and I became the marketing director at Gymnastics World. So I do all of their social media, and that's where I met Houry.
Let's just talk a little bit of kind of what got you involved and what made you, the two of you both decide that you wanted to pursue the Full Out Recruiting and this side business here.
Absolutely. So just like you said at the beginning, college recruiting is a crazy process. It's confusing. It's exciting. It's, the place where most kids want to get to eventually. They spend 15 years of their life in JO and they want to have kind of the reward at the end, which is college gymnastics. And going through it myself, I kind of knew the rigors of it, but watching how it's developed into this, cutthroat kind of challenging process through watching the kids at Gym World go and experience it while I was training alongside them. I thought, you know what, these kids need some guidance. They need to know, how to talk to coaches, how often to talk to coaches, what to really do to have somebody help them along the way. And so I thought, you know what, I've done it, I've seen it, I've been a part of it, why not mentor these kids in doing it? So my passion, I loved doing college gymnastics, I love gymnastics in general, so I want kids to have the same opportunities that I had. And so that's kind of why I decided to start it. And I needed help along the way to do the background stuff, figure out the marketing, figure out all the website, the social media, and that's why I found Wendy.
Well, it definitely does take a lot of time and energy and experience and what have you. I know I did it for a few years, so I definitely understand. Let's take a step back and talk just a little bit about your preparation for college and your recruiting and going through that experience as trying to become a D1 college athlete, which of course you eventually went to the University of Iowa. Can you just talk a little bit about kind of how you look at from your perspective of there wasn't a lot of help out there in that time. Most of the time it was like, just kind of, throw at the hip and just do what you do, try to get to school. Kind of just talk a little bit about your experience and how your experience was in the recruiting process.
Absolutely. So I went through the recruiting experience quite a few years ago. So I'll date myself a little bit. I went to college in 2007 to 2011. So I started the recruiting process, let's say 15 years ago. And it was different then than it is now. I didn't even know what college was or that there was a possibility of college gymnastics until my junior year of high school. And I started getting these letters in the mail, all these questionnaires, and they weren't online questionnaires like they are now. They were, these paper questionnaires that you had to fill out, handwrite over and over and over again. So I got these questionnaires and I was like, what is this? What am I looking at? And I was probably an irresponsible teenager. I filled out some of them. I sent in some. I didn't send in others. I had no clue what I was doing. But luckily I competed at JOs. And I did pretty good at JOs, and I had some college coaches talk to my club coaches, and they came to They came to my gym, and then they actively recruited me. I was a junior, so they could pick up the phone and they could call me. So college coaches were calling me. I was like totally overwhelmed. I had no clue what I was doing. But luckily for me, I was able to go on my official visits. I was able to go on all 5 of my official visits and experience, what college had to offer. So I had a lot of time to do a little bit of that research. I was a little bit more mature once I figured out, this is something I want to do. This is a good option for me. So I looked into different programs, where am I going to fit in? What's a priority for me? And eventually I found Iowa. And it was exactly what I was looking for, both academically, athletically, and then ultimately, socially. It was a really, really great team and a really great program. That was the perfect fit for me.
Well, you talked about kind of, having those opportunities or going on those official visits and what have you. And I think, looking back, I know for me, those official visits happened in your senior year because you couldn't do official visits. Now you can in junior year. Just, from the experience of doing it kind of later, when you were mature, when you understood what college was, not your freshman year or 8th grade, as it is kind of now, where you don't even know, you get into high school and you're like, oh my God, this building is huge, whatever, these hallways. That's what your experience is. You're not thinking college. How do you best kind of take that 8th grader, that 9th grader, and get them to kind of understand that, hey, yes, you have 4 more years, but you have to kind of step up the process and kind of get that mindset ready for that particular, experience of college recruiting.
Yep. And that is the scariest part of recruiting right now, because there is this culture of early recruiting, which, like you said, these 8th graders are having to make decisions on figuring out, okay, where am I going to go for the rest of, the next 4, not even the next 4 years. They still have their 4 years of high school, and then 4 years later, lots of things change. So what we do is really try and figure out, okay, what's important to you? What are the things that you are looking for? Yes, you want to do gymnastics in college, but there's so many other things that you have to think about that an 8th grader or 9th grader doesn't even register. Are you really close with your family? Do you want to live really far away? I mean, I lived in Iowa for college, and my whole family lived in Massachusetts, and I saw them once a year for 4 days over Christmas break. And that was okay with me. Like, I was totally fine with that. But I had teammates that was really, really hard for them. So, talking about the different priorities that they may not even consider is really important when we talk to these younger athletes. And then actually having them step foot on campus is huge for them. Just because, unfortunately, you see kids that commit to programs having never stepped foot on campus, and they have no clue what they're walking into. Like you said, they're overwhelmed by stepping foot into their high school. Wait until you get to college, you're going to be totally way overwhelmed, and things are going to go way over your head. So we talk about those types of things. We prepare them as best as possible for what is to come, because when I was a junior, I wasn't even thinking of all of these things. So
Well, I know on the men's side, it's a lot different still. I mean, the men's side is a little bit more lazy. I mean, I laugh because, I know most of the coaches very well. And it's just they wait to the senior year, senior year, junior year. That's when they start really, getting, the interest and really focusing on these kids to recruiting. Where, the women's coaches, it's amazing at nationals. You see all the coaches swarm over to the junior gym and they're all watching the junior athletes. And, some of them are, at 7th grade, 8th grade. Mm-hmm. From the standpoint of, you talked about unofficial visits. Now they've changed that rule where you can't do that until your junior year technically. Getting on campus is important. And, obviously it's on your own dime. And sometimes, you don't get to feel the whole experience due to the fact of the rules. How would you instruct or kind of help a family to really get a grasp of what is important and to look for and kind of feel out, especially if some of the parents may have not gone to a major university. Maybe they did, the community college into a 2-year thing or what have you. You never know the situation in the family. To be able to grasp and get a perspective of what they would want so early in their recruiting.
Yeah, absolutely. So stepping foot on campus is important. And like you said, you can't take your officials or unofficials until your junior year. And those are the ones where the coaches and the athletic department can really like tour you around, show you campus. You can talk to the coaches, you can talk to the athletes. Before that time, you're on your own, just like you said, on your own dime, going and exploring. So the things I would recommend is actually call the coaches, because you're allowed to call them, and let them know, hey, I want to come to campus. When do you have an open practice? And that just means that the doors are open and you can watch practice. You can sit there and basically observe. The coaches can't come to you. They can't talk to you. The athletes can't talk to you. So they're not ignoring you. They know you're there, which is great. They're just, the NCAA restricts them to talk to you. But you can observe and see everything. And then on that same day, when you can go for an open practice, schedule a campus tour, like a regular campus tour through the admissions department. And then you get to explore and see, okay, what's dorm life like? What is, where is the gym in comparison to all of the classes? Is the campus walkable? Is it safe? Where are things located? What types of classes would you sometimes can even sit into a class, and see what that's like. Are the class sizes big? Are the class sizes small? Different things like that, you can't really get a feel for unless you're actually going on campus and taking a tour. So I would highly recommend kind of setting those two up on a day that's going to work for you and work for, both the admissions department and the athletic department to watch practice. But again, you're on your own, so you really have to be adamant about setting that up. Another really good thing to do is to go to camps. Lots and lots and lots of schools have summer camps, or in the fall they have day camps or high performance camps where you go on campus, you get to train in the facility, and sometimes it depends if you're of age. If you're over the age of junior, you get a tour of campus. If you're under junior year, they can't talk to you about recruiting, but you can talk freely and get to know the girls on the team. You get to know the coaches, and you kind of get a feel for, okay, this is what it's like staying in the dorms. This is what it's like if I were to live here for the next 4 years. So going to those camps are really good to go to as well.
The camp is become somewhat of the biggest way that college coaches get to see the athletes early on in their recruiting process. Knowing that we can't do the officials, or the unofficials, I apologize, they now do more camps. I know I get this question a lot, and it's, should we go to a lot of camps? Should we do camps? I mean, you obviously don't want to be out of your gym, every single week, all summer long, or, into the fall, when they have them. What is your suggestion, or your, from the standpoint of what camps you kind of focus on? Where do you put your focus the most at? Because obviously you have to know what schools you're interested in. That's, number one. I know we're talking recruiting tips. But kind of how you kind of focus in and know, okay, this is where I need to be. This school, maybe this school, not just randomly just go to camps all over the place.
Right. Well, just like you said, you have to do your research first. So take the time, do the research on everything you can find out from the internet first, and see if it's going to be a good fit for you. I mean, you want to find a school that's going to be the right fit athletically, the right fit academically, and the right fit socially. I'll say that over and over and over again, because those three things are going to make you have the best experience. So first thing is first, do your research on the university itself. Is it going to be a program that you are going to be successful at academically? Look at their admission standards. What are their minimum GPA requirements? What are their SAT requirements? Are you going to be able to academically fit in that program? Then look at athletically. Are the girls on the team right now competing skills that I'm competing? Would this be a program where I can contribute to? Yes? Okay, let's look farther into it. And then look at the social aspect. See what the girls are like on the team. Look at their social media. Observe them at a college competition. And then, see what's important. Is the school far away? Is it close? Is it a big campus, small campus? Those types of little social things. After you do your research and kind of make your list of schools that you want to go to, then Build a relationship with the coaches. That's huge. Build a relationship, because you can go to a bazillion camps and show up, and if the coach isn't expecting you or doesn't know who you are, you're just going to be another number in the crowd. So you have to do your research first, and then you have to reach out to those coaches and build a relationship with them so they can expect you to show up. If you call them and you talk to them and you build a relationship and they're like, yes, we're really interested, you seem like a great girl, we want to see you on our campus, we'd love for you to come to camp, those would be the camps to go to. If you're just kind of willy-nilly going to camps and throwing yourself around, it'll be harder for you to get noticed. So definitely pick and choose the ones where you feel like are going to be a good fit for you, that you want to be, like showing yourself off to, because it gets exhausting also to go to a million camps and be 110% at every single one of your camps. So you got to prioritize, and then also get a feel for which schools are interested in you. You want to spend your most time at those programs.
And that's the main point. It's where you have to kind of narrow your search down and get to where you know that people are interested, and it's not just a willy-nilly throwing names out there. I do know you have to have a certain number of schools in a list, because you can't just base your thing off of a couple schools. But right, if you're just continuing to try to, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, you don't really have a concrete plan. And I always say that you should have a concrete plan, some way, somehow, of where you're going, what you're doing as you go through the process. Obviously, there are 3 divisions, and they all offer great gymnastics experience. And I always say some of the Division III schools have better academic standards than some of the Division I schools you're going to find. So how do you kind of, get families and you do your talks or your one-on-ones to kind of understand there are differences, and most people understand that it's athletically, not academically, the difference in the divisions, but to get them to understand, hey, there are many options out there. It's not just always that, Division I scholarship.
Absolutely. And like you said, there's tons and tons and tons of options. Everybody always thinks about Division I because it's the one that's on TV. It's the one that offers free, or not free, but full scholarships, and everybody wants to be at that top level. But there are so many options in Division II and Division III to get that same type of experience, and it's what's important to you and what's a priority to you. Something I actually just read a statistic that a lot of people, defer from Division III because they technically can't provide you any athletic aid. But 80% of Division III athletes can receive non-athletic aid. So that's in the form of grants, in the form of need-based scholarships. So there's tons of money in those programs or in the schools. You just have to find them in a different way. And so a lot of kids don't know that. So it really opening up your mind to, hey, Division II, Division III are great options for me. The ones, we steer to Division I, those are those elites. Those are the level 10s that are competing at JOs. Some of the kids that unfortunately don't make JOs but are JO national competitor like standard, those are the ones that are Division I quality athletes. However, there's very few spots available. There's thousands and thousands of athletes that fit that mold, but only less than 200 spots per year in Division I. So then you can look at, Division II, which again, great for level 10s. And Division II itself offers a little bit more of a balance of academics and athletics, but you still get that same, team environment. You still get the rigors of being on a college team, and there's scholarships available. Again, there's athletic scholarships and academics, so you can even create a full scholarship in the Division II level. And then Division III, again, great for level 10s that want a little bit more of a toned down athletic experience, because Division I, you're getting a full scholarship to go and do your job. Your job is to compete on that team and to, be at every single practice. You have to commit your nights, your weekends, your vacation time. You don't, have the opportunity to study abroad. You're a limited because you're doing this job to be a college athlete, to be a Division I college athlete. Division III gives you a little bit more flexibility. You still, you have your competitions, you have your practices, you have everything that you are required to do for Division I, but you get a little bit more of a well-rounded experience. You can have, if you want to study abroad, you have that option. You can do that. You can take a little bit of a break. And they have all sorts of different opportunities, like I said, academically, to get financial aid or just financial aid in general based off of needs. So it's a really, really great option. All three options are really great. It's just what's important to you. What do you want out of your college experience?
Well, I always tell this story whenever I do recruiting seminars and gyms. We had an athlete just before I came to Palmer's Gymnastics that was going on to college that went to lacrosse. Mm-hmm. And she was recruited and got a academic scholarship with the last name Gonzalez. So there was a Mexican-related scholarship. She had the last name Gonzalez. She is not Mexican whatsoever. She just happens to have a name that had been switched down the ranks, to Gonzalez, and she fit perfectly and got a scholarship for 4 years because her last name was Gonzalez. That's the one thing that some people don't realize, and the Division III coaches are much better at because they have to deal with those particular scholarships. They help and find different ways to, look for that book of scholarships, and they know those type of things. And it makes it easier, obviously. That's a cool help that they have because that's their tangible. That's what they have to help get kids on campus. They know they're academically, so they try to figure out what's best and what kind of loopholes, per se, as you look at it that way, there may be. And I always also say that, Division I, Division II, Division III, it's gymnastics. It's an experience. Not everyone is going to the University of Florida. Not everyone's going to the University of Alabama. That's just, everyone sees that on television. That's what I want to do. Great. Mm-hmm. Well, so does all the elites, in this country, along the world, and so you have a big group that you're fighting. So you want to kind of get the experience, but know where you're going to be and the best fit for you, as you said. And sometimes you have to look at the other options, not just Division I, for that standpoint. And I just always say that because there's always obviously other options out there.
And it's no less or no more to be competing in a different division. Lots of people kind of look down or don't want to look at Division II or Division III because it's not Division I. It's not glamorous. Well, it's about the experience. It's about what you're looking for. I mean, I have plenty of friends that compete at Division III level. My fiance competed at Division III level, and he loved his experience, and he got a really great education. And we talk about the rigors that he had as a Division III athlete, and I had as a Division I athlete, and they are identical. So it's an option out there, and it's no less to be at a Division III versus a Division I.
Right, and you go to a Division III national championship, it's still NCAA. So it is NCAA All-American. You don't have to say you're a Division III All-American. You can say you're an NCAA All-American. See, you're All-American. You don't have to specify that. It's still NCAA. It's NCAA Gymnastics.
It's a success in and of itself to be a collegiate athlete.
Exactly. And I would say that a scholarship athlete and a walk-on or a recruited walk-on are the same athlete once you're on campus.
Absolutely.
You're paying on this side and the university is paying you on this side, but you're still expected regardless. I know you mentioned that it's a little bit toned down. You're still expected to do what you have to do on the team, or you're not going to be on the team. You have to do get your grades because you can't compete if you don't. Regardless, Division I or III.
Right.
And so you're still you're the same person. The only difference is that you are paying for school and that someone else is paying on the other side. So, I mean, there's really no big difference. Obviously, Division I, some of the bigger Division I schools obviously are bigger gymnastics than Division III. But like I said, Division III may be where you fit.
Energym music is floor music that rocks. This is our 15th season. Did you know all our music is legal and licensed? That means we don't cut music, we create music. At Energym Music, we are dedicated to great customer service and creating floor music that rocks. Thanks for 15 great years.
It's Energym's 15th season, and they are excited to offer a 15% discount for all our Region 5 listeners. Go to energymmusic.com. That's ENERGYMMUSIC.com and use R5 Insider 15 at checkout. That's R5 Insider 15 for 15% off your floor music for the 2019 season. Energym Music is floor music that rocks. How about let's talk just a little bit about taking some of the tips that you're looking for in the process and merging it into the years in which you would do it. So obviously, 8th grade, you're still not a recruitable athlete yet, technically, until you're a freshman, but you're still in that process. So combine 8th freshman year, maybe what are we doing at the beginning at that stage? And some of these people, like I said, you may be a sophomore or a junior when you start this process. Unfortunately, if you're a junior, that may be a little bit late in the ball game. If you're a male gymnast, you're right in the time period. But let's talk like 8th grade freshman year, kind of what you think you should be doing at that point in time to get ready for this whole process.
Absolutely. So 8th grade, like you said, they're technically not a recruitable athlete because the rules are for freshmen and above. So it's a little bit of a gray zone for how the rules apply for anybody younger than a freshman. So you'll see some of the top programs actually actively recruiting those really, really little ones because it's this weird gray zone. But once you hit freshman year, there's tons and tons of rules on communication. But what you should be doing in these younger years is all of that research that I was talking to you about. You know, talking with your parents, talking with your coaches, talking with, the older girls that are in the gym, and just trying to understand, what's out there. What are the pros and cons of doing college gymnastics? Is this going to be a goal for me? Because unfortunately, they're going to have to make decisions at a young age about what they want to do for college. It's not like the old days where you hit senior year and you're like, oh yeah, college, that's something I want to do. No, we got to start thinking about it in 8th grade. So that's the time to do the research. So use the internet, figure out, like we said earlier, what is going to be your fit academically, what's going to be your fit athletically, and what's going to be your fit socially. So you have a basic GPA, you know what type of student you are, kind of. If you're an A student, if you're, an honor student, if you're going to want to be in the Ivies, you're going to think, I'm going to take all these honors, I'm going to take these APs, that's the kind of student you are. Okay, let's do some research in that field. What's it going to take to get there? So it's really your research building time. Figure out, what those different types of teams are, what kind of skills they're doing. Look at the national ranking and see what's the difference between Florida, what's the difference between, Oklahoma and, I'll give, for example, Iowa, who's kind of right in the middle, or a little bit lower down, Illinois State. What's the difference between these schools and why are they scoring differently? And where can I fit? After you do that research, as you get a little bit older, you definitely your freshman year, start building those relationships. Email. Like, we didn't have email back in the day, but now everything is electronic. You can videotape your stuff. You can email updates. You basically can talk at coaches a lot. And they can't talk to you, but you can talk at them, and they can receive all of your stuff. So if you're a recruitable athlete, if you are seeing that you're doing the skills that these girls are doing on the college gymnastics teams, definitely start videotaping your stuff, sending it out, and then reach out to coaches via the telephone. That's the biggest loophole that you're going to have in figuring out, okay, are coaches actually interested in me? Because you can pick up the phone, and if they by chance, I put by chance in quotes because you can send them an email and say, I'm going to call you on Friday at 3 p.m. And so they're expecting your phone call. So then they pick up the phone Friday at 3 p.m. and it's you. You can freely talk whatever it is that you want to talk about anything recruiting. So all of that research, all of that, figuring out, relationship building, that type of stuff should happen 8th grade, 9th grade year. Really all of that phone calling and like heavy recruiting, trying to get on campus, like we talked about, go to those camps. That's really going to be your freshman, sophomore year.
You talk about research, and this is the one thing that I know I try to, make sure they understand. How can you best, because you say research, and the parents are like, okay, well, what do I do? How do I research? I know I was just in one, and they said, well, how do I find the numbers to the college coaches? It wasn't on their website. And I said, well, it's on the website. Sometimes you have to go into the directory and look, where it is. It may not be right on their particular gymnastics page. How do you go through like the research for schools and maybe some sites that you recommend that would help them to get a better understanding of the academic standard, the athletic standard, and maybe just what kind of scholarships are available in that particular schools?
So to find out about the specific school itself, just going to the actual school website and going to their admissions department is going to be the best place to look. And there's always a phone number. You can always call and get the direct, information that you want. Sometimes you're just searching forever and you can't find it. Just pick up the phone and call the admissions department. They'll tell you everything that you need. Academically, figuring out, or athletically, figuring out where, coach or schools, programs rank. Road to Nationals is a really good website that tells you kind of who's number 1 and who's number 100. That's a really great place to look, and it has Division I, Division II, and Division III. Finding exact emails and phone numbers, that takes a little bit of research. You have to go to every single website and get all of that information and kind of make that like a little spreadsheet that you keep up to date with, because coaches are always changing. They change around all the time. Something that's really great, with us here at Full Out Collegiate Recruiting, we have a spreadsheet that we update all the time with the college coaches. So we have that information available for our clients. But keeping up with that, routinely looking back at those websites to see, okay, is there a new head coach? Did they get a new email? And making sure that that's appropriate. That's the types of places that you would find the most information.
At College Gym Fans, they have lists of scholarships, and he kind of updates, there's 4 scholarships here this year, there's 6. I would say just to get an idea of kind of what you're looking at, for scholarship purposes. Do you suggest that, and do you use that in your recruiting process to kind of maybe even yourself try to figure out who has money in certain years?
Absolutely. I mean, that again is going to be a third-party person that's obviously taking into account, seeing, looking on social media or maybe talking to coaches or whatever, and knowing, who has a scholarship available, who doesn't, because everybody, again, they want to know where is going to be the place where I can get money. However, I do want to steer people into knowing that things change all the time. Unfortunately, kids get injured, and they get medicaled, or something happens, or they switch schools, and either scholarships appear or they quickly get taken up. So those numbers change all the time. The best way to get a definitive answer is to build a relationship with a college coach and then get the information directly from that coach. But absolutely, I mean, we use that website all the time as well, just to kind of get a rough idea of what's available.
And then you talk about emailing, and I think emailing and telephone or phone calls nowadays, especially phone calls. Who talks on the phone anymore? Kids, they just text, Snapchat. And
it's scary to talk on the phone.
I know. They send a Snapchat and it's gone. But I think that's the biggest thing. And what I know I try to let kids know, and I'm sure you do the same, is how to kind of break that ice. And I say there's always something that you can do, and you say in your research the school. Like, you're going to call them, make sure you research what, maybe what they're doing in a meet, if it's during meet season, or kind of like maybe it's a freshman they brought in, or have something that makes them seem like they understand or have done research in the school, because they want to feel like that's the school they want to go to. Mm-hmm. What are your suggestions and things in terms of how to structure an email and that phone call, especially that first one?
Mm-hmm. So we do that a lot with our clients. We do a lot of educating and mentoring on exactly that. what are the appropriate things to put into an email? How do I have a telephone conversation? What do I talk to them about? We do mock interviews where, I pretend I'm the college coach and, we just talk back and forth about different things. But that's exactly it. I mean, you want to not just seem, but be knowledgeable about the program. A lot of college coaches that I talk to, something that really shines when they chat with athletes are, one, are they interested not only in the gymnastics team, but are they interested in the university itself? Because you yourself, you never know, God forbid you get injured or God forbid something happens to the program and you don't have gymnastics anymore. Would you be happy being at this university? So doing your research about the school is really important before ever sending an email or ever talking on the phone, because that gives you something to actually talk about. Hey, I saw this on your social media that, your athletes were volunteering at the Children's Hospital. I'm really interested in doing that. Something that kind of connects you into that program and what that program is doing. That's really important. And then in those emails, I mean, making sure that it's something relevant is important to say. You don't just want to, and that's the same as picking up the phone and calling. You don't want to just pick up the phone and then sit there idly and have nothing to say. The worst thing to do. I have coaches that have said, I've had girls that called me and then the first thing I say is, hey, so did your coach tell you to call us? And they are like, yeah. And then they have nothing to say. They just start doing what their coach told them. So, being prepared, knowing the types of things that you can talk about is really important. And that's what we work on with our clients for sure, in doing that research and being prepared and having good content to talk about via email or via phone call.
Right. I think you don't want to sound scripted, but you want to sound prepared. You obviously don't have have that like dull in the sound and then nothing and what have you. So yeah, but I think definitely making sure that you show that you're very interested in the school. It may not be your number one, possibly, but it definitely, you have to show that you have done some research, you're interested and a little bit about that school, so they feel like you're actually invested in them and want to be part of them.
A great way too is if you ask them questions. It's not just you're answering their own questions. Like if you've done your research and you have some questions for them, that gives them a feeling of, oh, they are interested. They want to know about us as a team. They want to know about us as a university. Let's spend some time educating them. They want to educate you about what's really, really great about their program.
And Wendy, I feel like you just sit back right now and kind of listening, but this is an area obviously where you're invested the most, and I know that from my standpoint, this is what I like the most, is the social media, the video standpoint. Obviously, video is very important. Video is the start of the whole process, especially if you don't know much about them. You do an introductory letter, whatever, you can talk about yourself, but the coaches want to see. They want to see what they're looking for. What are your suggestions in terms of, just video and the use of social media? Because now, back, in my day, we didn't have social media. There wasn't. You at least had some social media. I had none. We didn't have internet. We got internet.
We had Facebook. Facebook was brand new when I was going into college.
Internet was brand new when I was going into college.
I'm with you.
Like that was the first stages of, the computer labs, the first stages of internet. So, YouTube not existent. This whole video thing, your video, you had, video camera and you had to put it in your computer and, you can email whatever, but you couldn't even email at the time because that's when you first did. So you had to send your DVDs to, things and all that, and put all that on that crazy whole process. And nowadays you can literally video and send. It's so much easier. But you have to, obviously have a plan and be careful and understand the process. Maybe your suggestions on kind of how to get that ball rolling and what to film, what not to film, and where to put it.
So, in terms of social media, it's the best thing that has ever happened in this whole video world, and it can also be a curse. So to start out in terms of what the good sides of it is, like you said, we can get things out there immediately. So for us, we prep our clients and have them do an introduction video because it's great to introduce yourself. Coaches want to see you speaking, talking, kind of get a little bit of your personality. So we do an introduction video first, and we always put that. We offer web page hosting, so that goes on the website, so you can actually see and hear what you're talking about. And then there's the skills and the competitions and things of that nature that need to be out there. We teach our clients, and this is just a great tip for anybody who's trying to do the recruiting process, have a dedicated social media account for gymnastics only, and have your name, either gymnast, your graduating year, and only gymnastics skills on there. You can do upgrades, have a skill and then it's upgraded, put the upgrade out there. You did great at a competition, you can put your, that competition video out there, have your teammates or somebody videotape you. And, these are great ways to get some immediate traction. You can tag a coach if you're following along with schools, and it goes the other way too, for social media. You can tag a coach that you've had a relationship with or that you're building a relationship with, and they may be able to see it. So there's some great things that happen with the videotaping. In the bigger picture, in terms of social media, I do, want to caution, and, we've had this situation and we see it all the time. Have the separate social media account. Your personal account, however, should be private. However, it should also still maintain, a sense of dignity. Like, you don't put anything out there that you have to think twice about, that you don't want your grandmother to see, or that you have to explain. So, for example, even just hanging out with your girlfriends and holding a red Solo cup. Take that out of context, and you're putting out there, and anybody can interpret what or misinterpret what's in that cup. So one of the things that we say is, just don't put it out there. We understand that a lot of gymnasts that, they like to go to the beach and they're in great shape and they look great. Just watch the type of posing that you're using when you're on a beach on your summer vacation or your spring break vacation. They don't think about these things, but it's so very important and vital because, and even if you are private, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's out there. So that's the thing. So have your personal account private, but it's really still not private. So those are, the big tips, but get your skills and don't put something out there and then a month and a half later update it. It's got to be, you're in the gym every day. There's got to be something that you're doing. There's got to be something that you're working on. There's got to be some sort of progress. And, don't just put out there what you're good at. You got to show progress on all those different, all the different events, and that type of thing. So that's kind of where we're at with, the social media and the videotape. And we offer a great service with our webpage, so we are able to do all that. It's hard for them to find time to videotape, edit it a little bit, upload it. It does take time to do. So when we're working with our clients, we just do it. They give us the raw footage, and don't worry about it. We got it handled for you, and we're able to get it up in a timely manner.
In terms of skills, I mean, I know I've talked to college coaches to get a kind of a frame of and to know what is important to put up. And a lot of college coaches don't want to see, that double off tumble track. Are you going to compete that? Probably not. Those type of things. The triple flyaway, I saw that video once, triple flyaway off onto a pit bar. Probably not going to be in your routine. But in there's situations where like you do a release, on this pit bar. That's more of a, okay, you're getting a Tkachev. A lot of times the college coaches want to see what's close to being competable. What is your philosophy, not philosophy, kind of your encouragement or your advice, is a better word for that, on the stuff that is put up? As you said, you do it regularly, which is good, always update, but the type of gymnastics that you're posting. I mean, we don't want to see splits. I mean, they don't want to see that.
Absolutely. So this is Houry again responding here. So it is really important the types of videos, because you want to capture the coach's attention, but you also don't, you don't want to have their attention and then send them something that they're like, this is ridiculous, and then they lose interest in you and then never want to open up your email ever again, because, why do I want to see you tossing yourself over the bar for a Tkachev a million times and landing on your face? Definitely not what I want to see. But you are exactly right. They want to see skills that are completed and done that can be competition ready. So yes, okay, fine. You're learning a Tkachev. A great progression to show. So here's, a good example and a bad example. A good example would be, I caught my Tkachev on the single rail. Great, there's an update. Then I moved that Tkachev onto the real set of bars. Great, here's another really quick update. I've put it into the first half of my routine, another update. It's in my full routine, another update. I've competed it here today. Great. Those are 5. I mean, maybe that's even too many. You could go from I'm catching it on the real set of bars, because that's a competitive skill, and now it's in my half routine. Those are 2 really great things. A bad example would be I'm doing the Tkachev drill on the tumble track, and then I've moved the Tkachev drill from the tumble track to having somebody toss me over the bar on the pit bar. And then I'm doing it by myself, but I'm still not catching it on the pit bar. And then I grabbed it, but I pinged off the bar. And then I finally caught the bar. They don't need to see all of that. They need to just see, I caught the bar, I've moved it onto the real set of bars. So if that gives you an idea of the types of things that they want to see, that's a more realistic, if you're going to be able to compete this, if you're going to be able to do it on the hard floor, on, the hard mats, a dismount on a hard mat, or, on the high balance beam without mats stacked up, those are the types of things that they want to see. Yes, in the summer, you're going to be doing a lot of things into the pit. I'm starting to learn a Yurchenko full. Here's my Yurchenko full into the pit. Okay, that's great. But, at some point, you got to move that onto a mat, and then you got to move it into the resi. So get that video of you actually doing it onto the resi, like something that's a hard landing that, okay, yeah, she's serious about this skill, not just throwing a double-double off of the rod floor into the pit. Yes, that's fun, but are you really going to do it? Who knows? So that's
the spotting belt Tkachev, that's not a good video.
No.
Okay. You see those every once in a while. Let's dream. Come on. Yeah. Pull. Do anything. Kovacs. Go. Kovacs. Put it up there.
We do try to provide our clients with, these are the things that we want to see. Here's a list of skills that, based on what your last ones were, we need to do an update for your website. Get these skills on, so it's personalized for each client in terms of, okay, this is what we need to see next.
And there's obviously a specific skill, as a level 10 athlete, you're going towards that college mindset because the fact that they use level 10 rules modified here and there. Right. So they kind of are doing the same process. But do you kind of guide or help? I mean, obviously the coach is going to be pertinent into this particular part where, kind of developing the skills that are necessary. But do you kind of guide and help trying to determine kind of what maybe skills that they should be thinking about? Not necessarily exactly you need to do a Ginger. That's what you need to do. That's it. But to kind of guide, okay, yeah, you need to have a major release, you need to have a D bar to bar, that kind of thing. Do you kind of guide them, especially those maybe the coaches that don't have any idea? Maybe they're not, maybe they have a level 9 jumping into level 10 and they're just barely trying to get these new composition requirements down, let alone try to think about, what's going to happen 4 years, 3 years down the road. Do you kind of help them, guide them that with their kind of figuring out and understanding how to put routines together for that purpose?
So I actually, before I talk with the client themselves, I will actually chat with the coach, their personal coach, and get an idea of who they are as an athlete, who they are as a person, and then from there kind of base their gymnastics on, okay, are they going to be a recruitable athlete in the Division I, Division II, Division III level by the skills that they're doing or the skills that they plan on doing? So that would be the place where I would kind of do the education of, okay, your girl is doing a tucked Yurchenko. Well, if she wants to be a Division I athlete, you need to somehow get her to be doing a Yurchenko layout full or something higher than that. So the education on what types of skills are required. I tell the athlete that for sure, so they know what the expectation is. However, the suggesting and the knowing of which skills would be the best comes with the conversation with the coach. And we really try and make it a team effort. It's me, it's Wendy, it's the club coach, it's the athlete, and it's the parents. And everybody kind of gets an input on what's happening. So yes, being a gymnast myself, being a coach myself, having gone through this process, I know a little bit about what is expected and the types of skills that should be done, but I don't particularly say, hey, you need to do this. The conversation happens with the coach, and then the coach is the best person to decide, what, she's going to be a really good Jaeger girl, not really a Tkachev girl. So maybe we'll start working that type of stuff. So that's where that conversation happens.
Joshua Tree Skincare is cultivated by athletes for athletes. Organic and all-natural products for your time in the gym. The Gymnast Salve keeps your hands tough and conditioned without losing calluses. It repairs rips and tears quicker. Joshua Tree is a product I wish was around when I was competing. Our athletes at Palmer's Gymnastics and many around the region use it regularly to keep their hands bar ready. If you want to get your hands on this product or interested in selling it at your gym, please go to region5gymnasticsinsider.com/JTree Gymnastics Balm or email us at region5insider@gmail.com and put JTree Gym Balm in the subject line. Joshua Tree Gym Balm. It heals like a rest day. Though the recruiting is the athlete is trying to get the scholarship, the athlete is trying to become the college athlete, there's always that parent aspect, and that parent that obviously my kid's Division I scholarship athlete, it always is that, that's it. What do you guys do to help kind of guide the parents? Because I know this can sometimes be a difficult one, and some of the questions you get from them are hard to answer without, being like bashing dreams, what have you. Like, my kid wants to be a Florida Gator. Okay, your kid is level 9 and has never been to level 10 nationals, probably not being looked at right now by Florida. You have to be honest and into some aspect. But how do you kind of bring the parents in and get them to kind of move along this process and kind of be, have a good head on their shoulders and know what is the best for them and their child?
Mm-hmm. Most of it comes with education. I think, we've said a million times, everybody wants to be a Division I athlete. Everybody wants to go to Oklahoma or, Florida. They want to be at the top school. But we really spend a lot of time at the beginning. We have a one-on-one meeting, and we lay out all of the expectations of, this division, this type of team. They fill out a questionnaire of, what's important to them, what are their dream schools, and then, they're hiring us to be that person to say, hey, this is from everything that you've told me, from the interviews that I've done with your coaches, from what I've seen on video, this is what I think. That's why they're hiring us. Yes, unfortunately, we have to have those tough conversations, but I think, we approach it by educating the parents and really saying, these are the types of things, if you want your kid to be happy and have these things that are a priority to you, let's maybe steer in this direction. If, you're dead set, sometimes you really have those parents that are dead set on one way. I'm never going to say, no, don't do it. You're free to have that communication. You're free to send your videos to whoever you want to send them to. But I will continue to kind of gear our efforts into, the most realistic place. And most parents and most athletes, they have that realization after I give them homework to look at what the kids are doing on those teams. Look at the scores that they're getting. Look at what the academic standards are. After they do that research and they see, oh, yeah, they're at, this up high level and I'm actually a little bit down here, they have that realization. Most people just have the expectation that they're going to be the best without doing the research. And so after the education, after the research, the light bulb, I think, comes out and or comes on, and it's a little bit easier to kind of get through to them. Okay, this is going to be a little bit more realistic.
Well, you have the 8th and 9th graders. That's easy, and not easy, but you have time. Let's take the people that come to you as a junior, or maybe even as a senior. Mm-hmm. And of course, they want that scholarship, or they want be able to do that college gymnastics, but the availability of places on teams gets smaller and smaller. If they're coming out the junior year because they didn't know anything about it, maybe their club coach, like I said, isn't knowledgeable on this aspect, or maybe they weren't going to do college gymnastics and then all of a sudden they choose to, I think it's going to be cool, I want to try it. How do you help guide a junior or a senior that is trying to do this whole process in a very short amount of time?
Yeah, we actually, a lot of people that call us are those juniors that are desperate. And, they realize, oh my gosh, I should have been doing this years ago. What am I to do? I'm scrambling. And so they hire us to guide them along the way. And it's challenging because there's tons of stuff to do in a short amount of time. You have to figure out you have to do your research. You have to build the relationships. You have to get on campus, and you have to make a decision in a couple of months, and that's if there's something available. Like you said, people are offering scholarships and verbally committing to programs. I think I saw as young as 6th grade or something like that. That was a little bit ridiculous. But, by junior year, the majority of scholarships are given away, unfortunately. That's just the way recruiting is. There's still a couple out there for those late bloomers or those colleges that are just waiting to see, how athletes mature by the time they become, women or, go through puberty or, just things happen a lot between 8th grade and senior year. So anyway, there's opportunities there, but it's slim. So for those juniors, our biggest suggestion is really get out there and use the rules to your advantage. So you can freely communicate to any college coach at this point, So build those relationships, call around, send your videos, see what's available. And then, as you go down the list of what is a priority for you, what you've researched, and there's nothing available, think about walk-ons. Think about walking onto a program. See, you could always wow them after 1 or 2 years and then maybe earn a scholarship the next year if you are really dead set on competing at the Division I level. But, there's also, like we talked about at the beginning, Division II and Division III. They recruit a little bit later. By your junior year, that's a good time to look at Division II and Division III. Tons and tons of options available there. But really, as a junior, you have the freedom to take control and ask the questions. Get a feel for, okay, this school has a scholarship available. Am I going to cut it to be that person, and really aggressively sell yourself to be that person? Because most likely they've been looking at girls since they were, in 9th grade, and they just have been waiting, who knows for what reason. Or maybe somebody got hurt and a scholarship opened up. Who knows? But you got to be really aggressive, especially once you hit that junior year mark.
How can full-out recruiting help you, and how do we go about figuring out and finding you, and to be able to have full-out recruiting help us with the recruiting process?
We offer a full package of consulting, video editing, our webpage hosting, which includes some analytics, which really helps determine who is really looking at you. So when we have that time, 9th grade, 10th grade, and we're sending out emails, or the girls are sending out the emails, we can see who's looking at their website, and then it helps us kind of narrow things down. So that is one of I think like a big key for us to help us really. And you ask, like, how do we focus down on schools? And, it's based on that, who's looking at you too. So we do offer that. We offer, some custom packages too, based on your situation. Sometimes, we do get the junior and we have to kind of figure out what would work. It doesn't make sense for them to do a full package. We offer a do-it-yourself workbook, which comes with the website as well. You have to have the website, and you can just do it yourself. And then if you're stuck on something, we can, do an hourly consult with you. So there's different, we've provided some different methods to use. Because there are some kids who could just do it themselves, and some want to do it themselves. Others don't have an idea on where to start. In this, what I love to say is we also teach life skills. We teach them how to interview, how to follow up, how to stay on track, how to do all these things that they need in life. And it's such a great thing because we're helping them along the way. We never let them go on their own. We give them deadlines. We give them homework. Those are the things that, make them into these great human beings that will be successful in college and will be able to juggle and manage an athletic position on a team and their academics, because that's challenging. So we try to do that too for them. It's a little perk. And we're on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Full Out Recruit. Our website is www.fulloutrecruit.com. We're there. All of our services, everything we offer is there. You can reach out via phone at 440-462-9665, or email us at info@fulloutrecruit.com.
What I want to finish off on is, what do you think you would say the top 3 things that a recruiting athlete needs to focus on to really get the process rolling and guide himself through the process? What do you think the 3 most important things are?
Oh, 3. I get to pick 3. Okay. Number 1, start early. Mm-hmm. Start early with your research and just thinking about what it is to be a college athlete. Again, we recommend somewhere around 8th grade is a good place to start. And then incorporate, all of your research, everything that we talked about there. Number 2, videotape your stuff. It's so easy. Like Wendy said, you're in the gym every day doing gymnastics. Videotape it. I mean, it's right there. Tell your coaches, you don't want to just come around with your phone into the gym. But, most are okay with you videotaping. Okay, today's going to be our videotape day. Great. Do it. Send it. Send those routine updates and make sure they're good quality updates. At least at the bare minimum once a month, but I would say every 2 weeks, send. And then the next thing, I guess, is pick up the phone and have a conversation. Have a real conversation, and build that relationship with a college coach. I want to have a number 4. Can I have a number 4?
Sure.
Okay.
Go right
Number
ahead.
4, visit campus. That's huge. Don't make a decision before you step foot on campus. Take the time to get on campus as well. So those are my 4 tips there. 4 big things to be successful.
Well, thank you guys. Full Out Recruiting, but on social media and website fulloutrecruit.com, and you can follow them on all their social media at Full Out Recruit. Houry and Wendy, thank you so much for joining us on our podcast, and I hope that I feel this has provided a lot of good information. I know this is a very difficult process. It's a long process. It's not something that happens overnight, and it can be a frustrating process. It's a full-time job, basically, on top of their full-time job of school and on top of their full-time job and doing gymnastics. So lots of things going on there. But appreciate you coming on and kind of talking through your business and kind of how you can help these recruits, and we look forward to helping you guys and working this relationship out over the course of the next year and hopefully beyond. But thank you again for joining us on our podcast today.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It was such a pleasure, and we cannot we are so excited to hopefully work with more Region 5 kids that are, right next door.
Well, again, Full Out Recruiting, you find them at www.fulloutrecruit.com, and you can email them info@fulloutrecruit.com, and of course all on their social media, Twitter, Instagram, @fulloutrecruit. And you can find, of course, those links in our show notes as well as around our website. Again, we love what we do and would love your support by becoming a patron or shopping for those gymnastics necessities in our Amazon store on our website. Links to both are in our show notes. Follow us on all our social media accounts for up-to-date information on what's going on in Region 5. If you have any comments, questions, etc., please feel free to email us at region5insider@gmail.com or leave us a voice message on Skype at Region 5 Insider Podcast. Thanks again to Spieth America and Energy Music, as well as all our Insider sponsors for all your support of the Region 5 Gymnastics Insider. Thanks for joining us. We are
Region 5, we are burning fire. Say 1, 2, ready or not, here I come, coming in hot. I'ma take my body for a spin.